I'm Dan Maloney. I'm born and raised out here in Vegas, and I'm 25.
I'm Daniel Bolgatz, 24, also born and raised here in Las Vegas. So
Cool.
both products of the town.
Yeah, so what is Graffiti Park? What does it mean for you guys?
So essentially, like, Graffiti Park as an idea is a community of artists in however they want to define themselves as an artist. That's like a main thing. Is we throw the word art and artist around a lot, and we truly believe, and like it's always been the mission of Graffiti Park, that it really is in the eye of the beholder in terms of like what people want to create and how they want to feed that. So Graffiti Park in itself as like an idea as a community of artists and trying to give that community of artists a platform to be able to showcase those different talents. So that as an idea, but as an actual place, as an actual thing, I'll let Daniel explain like what we want to do with Graffiti Park.
So we're currently looking at spots in the downtown Las Vegas Arts District specifically to cultivate this community and essentially do what we're doing here at the schools every day. Now that looks a lot different because it won't just be muralists there, but it'll also include sculptures, live music, live dance, entertainment, food trucks, anything and everything that could be considered fine art will essentially be cultivated and curated there. We've heard it said a lot around Las Vegas is that there's tons of different arts, there's tons of different artists and different communities and different niche groups, but there's nothing that really unifies or brings them together or centers it around them. And so that's ultimately what Graffiti Park will be, is a place that all can come and express themselves in whatever way they so deem choose, or and can choose to be an artist in any way that they want to, whether it's video, music, art, the whole 9 yards, everything. Anything that anybody as an artist wants to do, they'll be able to do at Graffiti Park, is kind of what we're getting at. So we're currently in talks with the developer downtown to hopefully make this a lofty goal to open up by the end of 2022.
Okay, so that was a lot, right? That was a lot from both of you guys, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into it. How did this come about?
Right. So just kind of like overall, I've been in graffiti and art since I was like, probably I want to say 13, 14. That's really when that interest like got into skateboarding and all that. Kind of very similar cultures. I had an older cousin that, and Daniel, he'll kind of tell you, similarly, tattoo artist, was a graffiti artist when he was younger, and I was always just thrilled by what he was able to create and just like take my name and make it look really cool. So just as like a passion, like that's where my graffiti and art passion kind of comes from. I'll let Daniel share his origin. Yeah.
So same thing. I'm one of 7 kids, and so my oldest sister, she's married to an amazing artist named Chance Gomez over at Collective Tattoo Parlor. And so growing up, obviously, like as an artist, right, you aspire to be like the ones that you see growing up. And so he was always so amazing, and there was just like such an unbelievable factor. It was like, holy crap, how do you create this? This is like alchemy of like turning nothing into gold.
And so, that said, Daniel took a trip with his family. It used to be called Hope Outdoor Gallery. It's in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Never heard of that. Sounds dope, though.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's basically, it used to be like this 3-story building that's run down kind of near the city, that essentially was just like kind of a, similar to how the Arts District is here in some areas. It's just kind of like people could go and paint. And
so more like where we're used to, which is the Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Very similar. So Daniel's like comes back. He's like telling me all about that. That said, like we're sitting there. We're both in. We just kind of went through. We're both into graffiti, both into art. And he was like, "We're coming back. We're sitting there in college." And he's like telling me about this really cool place. But he was also telling me like it was kind of run down. There were like needles and trash and stuff. And so then that was essentially like we're just sitting there in his room, and I like looked at him and was like, why don't we just make something like that here? And so that's kind of the impetus for it.
So like
2015.
And that's a crazy thing to talk about. What pushed you to do that? To not just sit on the couch? but you said, you know what, fuck it, let me actually do this.
And here's, I guess, the cool thing. It was like the homie, I'm telling Dan all about it. I'm like, bro, this is so sick. Like, we should do, like, there should be something like that here in Vegas. Like, why isn't there? And he was like, why don't we do it? Like, he was an economics major. I was in hospitality. It was along the lines of what we wanted to do. Granted, we were still in college, so like we didn't really know. Obviously, we're caught up with other shit going on. He got a full-time job and went out to Memphis. And it really wasn't until like start of COVID, like literally started in 2020, when all the schools went down, and Dan and I were like, dude, this is a perfect opportunity. Like, all the schools are completely.
Who had the idea for the schools?
So I think
That's a crazy place to start. Think about that.
It didn't start at schools. It
was,
adapted, because we were at Dreamer first. They had done like the whole like tour across America, and they were at the YMCA. They were going to turn this.
So how do you guys do the Dreamer Lab?
So same thing. I was over there talking with Chris. He was like, yeah, we're going to do this. I need a bunch of artists to come in. And again, it was like a call to action. I was like, well, we want to create this park. We,
and this could give us a good, like,
so exactly. So it just like kind of fell, it just kind of became that. It was like, okay, well, so from like 2016 to 2020, right? Those 4 years, like we're massaging it. We're like, okay, like if we come up with these business plans, like, okay, how can we look, how do we keep the lights on? We want anyone to be able to come and create and do these things, right? And so we're trying to answer those questions with these like business major, hospitality major, college like hats on. Like you said, like I move away, we're just doing phone calls, and then he had a connection for Dreamer, and he had shared like our dream of Graffiti Park. And so Chris, great guy, a mentor of Daniel's, essentially was like, hey, we have this space, I need it painted. And so then that's when it was kind of like Daniel, like it dawned on him, like, okay, if we don't have a place where people can come create, let's just go find places we can bring them to create.
So something that I keep hearing us talk about, and this is something that like really resonated with me when I met you, was you keep saying you left.
Right.
What brought you back?
Right.
Because you left. You were, when I didn't know you, when
right.
I started hanging out with here, it was Daniel. This was Daniel's beast.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at it.
Right.
Then you came around, and it was like, oh, okay, he's from, back in, but you left. What brought you back?
Right, so that's funny. So the plan was to always, like, this was the plan. Like, the plan was to always come back. So I went out there, originally was supposed to be for a year. We were still massaging this. After that first year, I had an opportunity to stick around another couple of years and work on some cool projects. And I was very candid with Daniel about like all that. Like, hey, I'm hanging out there. I know. And he was working some other jobs at that time. Still kind of, entrepreneur trying to make the whole ends meet. And to your point, very much so his beast for the first almost year, a little less than a year, the first like 5 or 6 projects were Daniel himself, right? And so nature of my job, I was traveling a lot. It was difficult to be back, right? And so, to answer your question, what brought me back, it was all, the plan was to always come back. It was just a matter of, after these 2 years, when I've knocked out these projects, I'll be back. And then I came back. That all, like last year around April, May. Another thing with COVID, kind of working from home with the job I was at, I was able to come back and start to work at some projects. I was able to meet you at some of the ones kind of in the spring before the summer hit. And then I've been back since June and been at every opportunity.
So let's talk about this. Did you ever feel like, hey, maybe I have to get this done? Prove that me and my friend can do this. He's gone. He's out somewhere else.
Yeah,
I need to prove to this guy, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We talked about it. Let's actually get it done.
Yeah. Because, he was a year older than me, is a year older than me. And so he had graduated college before. And this whole time, I'm like, how do you conceptualize, like, okay, like, we need to build this thing, and how do you, like, start to do it without just taking first steps forward? So every phone call or every meeting we took, was a phone call back to Dan relaying, like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, and it's cool because it built up the systems and the processes that I think will really push us moving forward. Like as the Google Drive, and ensuring that all of our meeting notes are synchronized and up online, so that like it's just pick up and plug and play. And so we were so blessed as when Dan was able to come and move back to Vegas and work from home with our fraternity, it kind of led to now it was like, okay, well now we're able to pick up a lot more projects and start moving. And so, yeah, so since Dan has been back now, we're able to, one, double up, as at least going out and seeing things. We've now got our 501c3 nonprofit status through that. Dan and I got audited, and we're past the check, and we're cleaning through with the IRS. We're there. And so now going forward, it just gives us a lot more mobility, and now with two of us here, I mean, we're looking to potentially bring on new team members and see who wants to join our vision and goals.
Yeah, there's like a lot of learning. Like when I came, like I'd be like, Daniel would be like, all right, like this is how like artists are gonna show up. Like, I mean, obviously you've been to a bunch of them now, but it's like, you think of how like an artist is the first time they show up. First project I'm working at, it's like I'm supposed to be like the guy behind the scenes over here that he's calling and after all these meetings, right? So, but no one knows that. And to your point, right? So it's like, and I'm not the type of person to like assert like, oh hey, I'm the co-founder of this whole thing, but it's like, hey, like welcome. And then if they ask me a question, there's a lot of like, so what do you tell them when it's this, or how have you found it the best way to explain it to principals or teachers this way, So it's kind of roles reversed. He's talked a lot about like me being a year older in the fraternity, kind of as a mentor. So coming back to your point, like he was like, hey, this is how we do it. And I'm like, cool.
So you almost felt like you went from being a mentor to Daniel became a mentor.
I'm deferring to you, man. Like,
see, and that's cool. Yeah. You guys built a stronger, well,
and it's honestly amazing because everything about Graffiti Park, and to anybody listening, watching, like the whole premise of this idea just started with, okay, get up and do it. Like, we got this idea,
fuck
like,
tomorrow.
Take a step forward and, just do something. And so that turned in a bunch of conversations, right? Turned into one opportunity, a dreamer. And then that one opportunity led to 2 YMCA projects. And we loved the YMCA, they were awesome. But again, a teacher was a mom of one of the artists there, and she was like, hey, I know a school that could really use something like this. And immediately it transitioned.
Let's talk about where we're at right now. This school right here, you guys got to realize this is literally one of my best friends lives down the road in that house. His kid goes to this school. So to think about that, you have Numbskull. His mother went to a school that he ended up painting out here. Things that, but like something I realized recently, and I never thought about this. Schools were so boring. I never thought about how boring they were. When you're a kid, you don't realize, you're just at school. But it's so boring.
You're just forced to go.
You're just forced to go. But when you start seeing Graffiti Park, you start realizing like school doesn't have to be boring. We don't have let's make it fun.
You don't have to be in this box of like I got in a really cool conversation with an artist over here. She did a really cool piece in it. It says, "Beauty starts when you start just being yourself," and that's what the quote says. And we were just having a good conversation about like it's important for kids to be able to read that, because here in school a lot of times it's exactly what you're saying. Like you're put into this, hey, you got to do your English, and this time of the day we do our math, and then we go to specials, and then we do this, and it's like, real life doesn't have to be that regimented. It is not, and so seeing stuff like this on the walls and being able to read quotes like that, I think that's really cool.
The thing is failure only shows opportunity for growth, or like how
so
to do things right.
Failure. Okay, let's talk about something. Out of the whole Graffiti Park experience, what was the worst experience you guys have had?
The biggest failure? Oh, dude, Tate Elementary School for sure. We got a tip from a contractor that was like how they get like the perfect, beautiful straight lines at Sherman-Williams. And I totally bought the wrong shit. I bought like the silicone putty that like ripped off and ruined the bottom. So in trying to get like all of the lines perfect, we didn't have a single straight line in the entire fucking project. And that was a pretty heavy learning curve myself. That was
tough, especially because we spent a lot of time laying that cock.
All right, and
so much time.
What was the best experience?
Best experience?
This school's been amazing.
Yes, I want to say this project. Aside from the last project, we usually say like this one was like the best one yet, because it's a matter.
I have noticed it's progressively. You guys are getting progressively more comfortable being yourselves. Right. Progressively being able to say, "This is what Graffiti Park is. This is what we're going to bring to the table."
You go ahead, brother.
So.
Exactly.
You guys also don't have, it's better because now the schools are a little bit clearer on seeing like a portfolio of exactly what you guys are going to do and stuff, instead of like,
ambiguousness,
like a
ambiguity.
mystery to it, you know, which is kind of nice, you know. Now you guys, you know, it's like a TV show. You guys aren't on your first season no more. Now we're getting into season 2.
That's a really good way.
You know, and that's what I'm like starting to think about. Is like you guys are really moving into season 2 now. You know,
no.
Season 1 was you guys building Graffiti Park, was getting the groundwork done. Now we're moving into season 2. Let's get this, you know, videos taken, show people art, show that everybody can do it.
Yeah, and that'll be really cool. I mean, because season 2 is going to be, you know, our grand opening is getting the logo that you see here, a physical, hard set headquarters.
So Graffiti Park, that sounds like easy for the name to come about.
Right.
But come on, did you guys? Was it like that or?
So it was like that, but then there was like this. Well, if we put graffiti in the name, like, is it gonna automatically like
rule us out?
And I talked to Daniel about this.
Yeah.
We did. And what did I say?
You were pretty adamant about it. You were like, no, dude, fuck that. Like, you need the name. You need like the idea.
Because and to me, you know, we're taking the word and we're cleaning it. We're scrubbing it. We're right. There's so much bad associated with it. And I like that we're doing something so positive, associated with this word.
And that's exactly what like we landed on, because we were like, okay, art park, no, that's lame. Like, how do we, and then it just came to like, dude, no, if our whole point here is to like showcase graffiti art and the talent that they have as graffiti artists, and obviously that's expanded as we were talking about to any type, but that was kind of like the core of it. Just call it Graffiti Park, man.
Well, like, and the core of this, right? Like you're saying, you're going to have a different artist, right? You guys are going to, like we've talked, you're going to be able to help artists produce stickers, produce t-shirts, produce their art in different mediums than what just their one medium by using Graffiti Park as.
And create it in a space where people are ready to receive it. You know, like, one of the biggest, I would say, chokeholds, I would say, on some of these artists is that idea of getting like the name out or getting somebody willing to like receive art or willing to go out and see beauty for what it is. Like, at least when people come to Graffiti Park, it'll be distinctive to be like, okay, no, like, I want to see something in a different light. I want to see a little bit of grunge today. I want to see humans. Like, I want to see love more being enacted. And I think that'll be the coolest thing. Is like when you're actually out there, it's like the same way that you feel the love in our projects, in the same way that you can, ask some of the newcomers, and they're so shocked and in awe. They're like, wait, it's just paint.
Bro, no, like, so let's, like, newcomers. We'll talk about my first experience. I walk in and you talk about, the first time you're running something, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think, the first time I walk in, right? Daniel's posting this stuff. He's like, yo, come to this school. He's just showing some video footage of his school. And I'm like, all right, like, let me go, and I feel like this courage, but when I got there, I was very discouraged, but you guys make it almost like a home, like almost like you feel comfortable to express, you went over and you're like, hey, this guy might not know what he's doing, go help him a little bit, that's something like, talk about the family here,
Yeah.
Well, and it's a big thing, like I'm big to tell anyone. I just read a book and very happy about it. It was Phil Knight's Nike book, and Phil Knight talks about this idea of, it was like he was like, hey, just tell people like what you want and like don't micromanage them, don't and let them surprise you with how they do it. And so much of Graffiti Park has been that. It's just like no, dude, if you want to paint something, go up and paint it. Like if you want to do something, just go out and do it. And a lot of the times it's like, hey, I need this wall covered, and then to see some of the artwork that kind of comes about, and like the courage and the way that others progress. It's so warm heartening and just encouraging that, like, one, we're on the right path, but two, that this is going to turn into something that's like a cultural phenomenon. I feel like.
Well,
Well, I was just gonna say, like, our big thing is collaboration over competition. Like that was like the first mission.
Trippy and Mario technically grew up in like rival graffiti hoods, if you will, and now they have a studio together because their first collaboration was at the YMCA that we did together. So, like, that's.
I would have never met them before. Like
breaking cultural barriers.
Yeah, it's like been really cool for me to witness is the like personal talent that can be really cultivated. That's here. A lot of, like, no one that comes out here is like bad. Like, they just, either if they've never worked with like spray paint before or never had like a wall that they have to walk away from, it's like not in their backyard or not a canvas in their room, right? It's like you have to walk away from this work product, and that in itself I think is like the first like kind of step of, we talked a lot about like, as an artist, like getting yourself out there, that's like that first step. And I think a part of that is putting something on the wall that's you're going to put your name on, or even if you don't put your name on it, you know it's there and other people are going to see it. So I think that psychologically in itself, getting over that is a huge, really cool thing for people who have never done that to be able to do that. Exactly. And I think, like, aside from that aspect of it, because we're so big on the collaboration over competition, you have this kind of like incubator of like, oh, hey bro, I've never used this cap before, can you walk me through it? It's like, oh, I really like this one. And so you're not only just getting like if you Google what does this cap do, you're getting oh, I use it in these circumstances and this, you're kind of getting that master splinter, if you will, advice from all the different like artists that come out here. And then you have artists that have never used spray paint, but they like wood burn, and that's like their shit, and they rock and roll, and they teach everyone else like different, symmetry and stuff like that. So it's like a really cool, the collaboration aspect isn't just about bringing people together, it's also
have you seen artists that come out here that were doing a form of art, and then you've noticed, hey, now they're doing other art because now they're being more comfortable?
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of artists that have come and they, again, never used spray paint before. And so it's the cool part of Graffiti Park, right? Because we open it up to anyone. I mean,
and then where do you guys get your spray paint?
Huh?
Where do you guys get the spray paint?
Variety of different places. Legendaries was like, I walked in literally at YMCA and I was like, hey, we're local, we need a paint sponsor, and they were, hell yeah.
Okay.
First place I walked in, they were like, hey, we're right there.
Anyone else?
Since now we're starting to go to like Art Primo once we started to just order in such large bulk.
Are you guys purchasing? Are they, helping? How's
yeah,
that? Okay.
We're in talks with Mari. She's
okay.
the CEO of them. She's awesome. She sends out swag bags.
See?
And so we've been able to give out,
things like that.
Yeah,
stuff.
And that helps. So
like a lot of artists, right? They're on iPads now. So when we're handing them black books, some of them, are like, oh, okay, cool. Like I need to get back into the black book drawing, or again, leaving something of permanence that like can flip back and through.
Yeah, because a tablet can get stolen or lost, and if you don't have that backed up, you just lost
it's just
everything.
Another medium of like, okay, you're if you're used to Procreate and your brushes on that, like let's get a pencil out and let's start, sketching or a ruler out and different things like that.
So it's so different. It's cool because again, the idea of permanence, it pushes each person to one, not only leave something that they're willing and able to do, but like two is everything at Graffiti Park, right? We push you towards being the best artist, and the best artist, one, has to show a little bit of initiative, right? Sees a blank canvas, wants to go out and attack it. Two, has to be prepared, right? Have a sketch or have an idea, know what they're going to try and put up on the wall. Three, they have to have the persona, the confidence, if it's a first project, to be like, okay, I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and go and talk to new people or try something new, or try spray paint.
And there's definitely people here that just vibe with headphones, and then there's definitely people here that just like, bro, we can talk. There's people here that come in 30 minutes, they're done, Then there's people that spend 3 days,
Yeah. So from the very beginning to like
literally the second they have to walk out,
which brings up like kind of a cool, like just the personalities in themselves and being able to connect those different personalities. There's been relationships that have come out of
our first baby. I think was born 3 days ago. 6 days ago. I have to follow up with
meaning artists that met at a Graffiti Park project have a baby together. So
that's crazy. Yeah. The festival, what's up? Life is beautiful. So how'd you guys? That's a crazy event, right? You told it seemed like you guys were trying to do that for a little bit, and then you guys finally got it. Well, how'd that come about?
Serendipity, bro. Again, it
just happened.
Yeah. Well, 4 years we're sending out emails asking, saying, hey, we'll do anything. We'll this. The 1 year we were, busy doing projects and weren't paying attention. We
didn't send that email. Yeah. That email got sent to us.
And that's how'd that feel?
Dude, that was like, I think we went and got hammered or something.
Hey, nothing wrong with celebrating.
No, like just to, showcase, it was like he called
we were on
me,
a video conference
we were
call,
literally FaceTiming.
And he goes, hey, did you see that email that just came in? I was like, what? And I looked, and it was, Lauren from Life is Beautiful, the person I had been emailing. And it was like, hey, we'd like to invite you.
We had a call with her, 2 years prior. In 2019, we had a whole call where we pitched an idea, and she was like, okay.
So it was kind of cool, seeing, hey, you guys saw we're not done. And now you guys see, we're not done.
Exactly.
And you respect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But momentum almost solves, all your issues, and, choosing to put yourself in a momentous state, just showing up and doing something, even if you do something so wrong and you have to botch the whole thing and cover the whole thing and start over, you're still doing something.
But like, let's talk about that. You don't spray paint. Like you
No,
told me that.
not much.
No.
But like you'll see.
You
like,
do,
I've
and you
done
did,
shots, yeah,
but you're
like-
not anymore, right?
Yeah, we're getting back into it.
You know,
Yeah.
but like, let's talk. Like you told me when I first got here, I don't spray paint. You know, but you do. But you know, everything's a learning. You're still learning. You're getting better.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's getting better. Just get out there every day, use what you can, and use the supplies at hand. You know.
I think the biggest thing is if you're ever feeling like as a creator, or even if you don't feel like you're a creator, but you want to feel that way, like just come on out. Like there's a space here for everyone. There's a space for you to give it an opportunity, even if you walk away at the end of the day hating spray paint and hating or recognizing, hey, there's another medium that's better for me. Or I talked to some other people. I guarantee that you'll walk away from that experience feeling a little bit better about that creative aspect of your life, because I mean, like, one of the things is like you become who, like, you don't become, but you know, your influences are who you surround yourself with, right? And so if you're putting yourself in a position where you surround yourself with other creatives that are also probably stepping outside of their comfort zone, sky's the limit for what you can do there.
I don't know how to top that. That's beautiful.
You know, just get a can in the hand.
Yeah, like the coolest thing is one of our real good close friends, Elliot, like at Life is Beautiful, we got the first opportunity. His son is 3 years old, right? Couldn't press the little buttons, so we gave him a little like tapper thing to put on top of the can so he just like use his hands.
Squeeze it, yeah.
Yeah. And this 3-year-old is just sprinting back and forth, just like just making straight lines all across and literally that idea of like coming out and doing something ASMR, like it's therapeutic. It's good for the soul.
Express yourself.
Like to be out here to express yourself on the idea of fuck tomorrow. I promise we'll love more if you come out here, you know, and like we just aim to create such a beautiful environment for others to create. And so again, we're collaboration over competition. Everything we do is literally for you guys, and we would be nothing without the artists that do make Graffiti Park the wonderful collaboration hub that it is. So come on out and be a part
How
of
do
it.
you guys see this in 1 year from today?
1 year from today, come down.
Because we're going to do an interview in a year
Yeah.
from today, guys.
Let's do an
So.
interview at Graffiti Park. then.
Yeah, come on
You're-
down
Let's
today.
do it.
Punch your
All right.
ticket in the Arts District, Graffiti Park. We can grab something from a food truck.
And we'll talk.